Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, starting with the 144,000 of men, the prophets, and the rest of the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, staying in the Holy Spirit, and keeping the faith of Yahweh Shai day in and day out. So I just want to touch on a couple different news pieces going into news and prophecies, and this is going to be centered around the coming economic turmoil, which will eventually spark off or add to rather the beast against Gog and Magog and its allies. All right. As is written about in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, and other various scriptures as well. But starting off with this article here, it says Brics receives new membership bid. Bangkok sees Thailand future in future in a multipolar world, the Asian country government has said. Okay, now this terminology, multipolar world, is something that is, actually a threat to America, America's hegemony, which you just had Biden say a couple of days ago that America is the world's only superpower and is an indispensable nation. All right, because right now America sits, on top, right, as a well-favored harlot, but we're seeing that a lot of these various different countries are, moving away from the way that America does business, and America, being the one that benefits from everybody else's, commerce, and they're trying to create their own multipolar, age. All right, and in order for this multipolar age to come, well, the current age has to go. And this multipolar world isn't going to come to fruition, but it is a mindset that these nations have that is at odds with the mindset that Babylon the Great and the Beast has. So let's read it. It says Thailand will apply to become a member of the BRICS economic bloc. The government of the Southeast Asian country announced on Tuesday. The cabinet in Bangkok has approved the text of the official letter expressing Thailand's intent to join the group. Government spokesman Chi, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, said in a statement quoted by local media. According to Chi, the letter declares that Thailand understands the importance of multipolarity and the increasing role of developing countries in international affairs. Thailand's vision for the future is in line with the BRICS principles, and joining would benefit the country in many ways, including enhancing its role in the international arena and providing opportunities to take part in shaping a new world order, the letter reportedly says. Okay, so as we see, more and more that new world order talk. And as we always say that the ones who are in control of the world's economies aren't the ones that you see on TV. Okay, they're just the talking heads, right? The officials, as the central bankers, right? Mayor Amschel Bauer, right, who changed his name to Rothschild, said, "Give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who make the laws." But as we're also seeing with these central banks around the world, that they all are pivoting to digital currency. Okay, and this digital currency mindset isn't just particular to America or EU. All right, you have other countries, that are in the BRICS nations that are moving toward this as well, because it's the ones that are on top all right, of the pyramid, right? The all-seeing eye that is pushing this type of vibration throughout the world. So, America isn't the country that the all-seeing eye, all right, the Illuminati, if you will, they don't need America to be on top, right? It's there is just a pawn, or a yeah, it's a pawn for them. Okay. However, we know that according to biblical prophecy, that Babylon the Great, which is America, okay, is the one that is going to push for starting, should I say, not even just starting, not only just Babylon the Great, but it's going to be Babylon the Great is going to be the main, driving force. But the scriptures talks about the beast and the mark of the beast, right? And the beast represents what? The whole conglomerate of Esau's hegemony, all right, Esau's power structure. Okay, and the fact that you have these Brics nations, which a lot of these Brics nations, which we'll read it, aren't Edomite countries. Now, of course, you do have some Edomite ruled countries that are in Brics, but a lot of these Brics nations are, as it says, developing countries. And a lot of these developing countries are heathen, other heathen countries. So what we're seeing is actually other heathens, right? Other nations of people, all right, trying to gain power in the world, okay, through coming together and creating a block, right, that is similar to the NATO, right, organization, and they're trying to use their economies and their commerce and their ways of buying and selling, or should I say their money, all right, their local currency as a means to trade, right? But we still know that the system that we are currently in is under the rulership and authority of Esau Edom through Babylon the Great, which is why currently, as it is today, the world currency is still the U.S. dollar, but that is being threatened. Okay, and because of that threat that the U.S. dollar is facing, it's going to push the America and its allies into pushing out this payment system, this new form of digital currency, which will be, the way that you would have to buy and sell. And this is also going to push toward a polarized world. See, they're saying it's going to be multipolar, but there's a polarization still being had because you have, like I said, the NATO and the NATO countries headed by America with one set of mindset of them still, leading the world in trade and affairs and foreign affairs and international laws and things like that. But then you have these other countries on the other side with Brics. They're trying to, form their own, as it says here, new world order. So that's only going to lead to more and more tension. While you already have tension being, brewed up right now through wars. Okay. So reading on, it says Brics has invited non-member countries aspiring to join to take part of the group summit in France a couple months ago, if not, early, late last year. They, entertained the idea of joining the Brics. Now, France is a part of NATO, but they wanted to also be in the mix of what the Brics nations are doing. So that can, be something that you can store away in your memory box as well, because there is prophecy that speaks to the beast hating the whore. Okay. And these countries have these NATO countries, which is, the EU nations. They have a lot of reason, especially as of late, to become, more, have more dissension with or division with America, namely everything that's going on with the war in the Middle East. All right, the 48ers and the Palestinians, and how they're just having a complete disregard for human life, man, woman, or child, to the point where they're being condemned, and even Bibi, all right, Netanyahu, now has an international warrant out for his arrest. But yet you still have America full fledged backing them, economically and militarily. Okay, so let's keep reading. It says Brics has invited non-member countries aspiring to take part on the group's summit scheduled for October in Kazan, Russia. Attending the summit would be an important for it would be an important Salakia. It would be an opportunity for Thailand to accelerate the application process, Chai said. Now, there is no coincidence that Russia is the one that is leading, this economic push to de-dollarize, because once again, according to prophecy, you have the chief prince of Meshach, right? Gog of Magog, right, as the one that will be the head nation to go up against America and its allies. All right, and Russia is not going to just fight by itself. Russia has allies, as when you read in Ezekiel the 38th chapter, it goes into it. With some of those allies are a part currently of NATO, Turkey, right, the House of Togarmah being one of them. And Turkey doesn't have positive relations with the state of the 48ers. All right, I think, matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, they just I think they pulled they stopped trading with the 48ers. So we're seeing lines being drawn. All right, positions being taken by either side, and this is all leading up to that the day of Armageddon, all right, which is the mountain of troops. Let's see what said. It says originally composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, right? Brics added Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates at the beginning of 2024. And I believe when you go into Ezekiel 38, it mentions Ethiopia. And of course, it mentions the Persians, which are the Iranians. You see? It says, since then, 15 more countries have signaled interest in a mission, including Bahrain, I'm pronouncing that wrong, I know, Belarus, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Senegal, and Venezuela. Now, Pakistan is a nuclear country. So is Russia, China, of course. Iran, as of late, has been talked by the IEAE or IAEA, something to that effect. They saying that how Iran is like a week away or a month away, they're already saying, from being able to make nuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, which they may already have them because they have a very large underground stockpile that nobody really knows about. Okay, so it says, when I say nobody really knows about, they don't really know exactly the details of which type of missiles are in this underground stockpile. It says the expanded Brics makes up about 30% of the global economy and a population of around 3.5 billion, or 45% of the world's total. So that's almost half. It also, and that's just the ones that are expanded. You still have others that want interest. All right, you still have other countries that want in. Okay, so it says it also accounts for over 40% of the world's oil production. Right, and that's where you get the terminology petrodollar. Okay, petro meaning oil, and a dollar being a U.S. dollar. That is currently what most countries trade oil in. But you have the BRICS nations that are attempting. Their whole thing is to de-dollarize and to build their own economies by doing trade in their local currencies. So going away from using the U.S. dollar and using their own currencies to build up their own economy. And what is that going to do to the American economy? We have another article that is going to touch on that. And before all of this actually, before we live in a world that gets to this point, what would you think America would do? Right? What would you think the country that is on top would do? You think they would just sit back and watch, all of their riches and their power just be dwindled away? No, there's going to come to a certain point where they're going to react to this, economic war, because that's what this is right now. It's an economic war, right? As the old adage goes, all wars are bankers' wars, meaning it's all about the money. Okay, so it says according to the International Monetary Fund, BRICS currently accounts for as much as 36% of the global GDP in terms of purchasing power parity, compared to just over 30% for the G7, right? And the G7, I believe it's the UK, Japan, I want to say, of course, America. Um, I can't remember the other four, but nonetheless, the G7 has less GDP power than the BRICS. Okay. And once again, you have still countries that want to join the BRICS. So it says BRICS aims to overtake the G7 in nominal global GDP over the next 4 years. The head of the New Development Bank, the Dilma Rousseff, said in February. So there's a lot that these powers that be, all right, these officials, these government, these kings, that's what it really is. These kings of these worlds, all right, of these nations, that they want to accomplish within the next 5-6 years. All right, that's why you have this 2025 agenda, you have the 2030 agenda. Okay, and all of this is pointing toward a massive change in the way society is being lived. Okay, that's why John the Revelator ultimately he saw a society to where you couldn't buy or sell except you had the charagma, okay, which that charagma is the implantable MOT mark of implantable, or should I say, micro C-hip. And why is that something that they're going to push? One of the reasons is economically they want to try to maintain control, their power. That is why it's called the mark of the beast. Now you're going to have other countries, right, that may not necessarily be a part of the beast system, the NATO and the EU system or organization, but they are in league with the beast. That's why in Revelation 18th chapter, it speaks about they that live deliciously with her. Okay, because you have some of these countries that are a part of BRICS, like India, for instance, that does business with America, right? But America just, kind of chastised India and said that they better be careful, to do dealings with Iran, or they may end up getting sanctioned. You have that kind of rhetoric, and you're basically making a threat to another country to say that you can't do business with this people because I got beef with them. Although you don't got beef with them, I got beef with them, so you can't do nothing with them. And if you do, then I'm gonna tax you. How do you think these nations are looking at America? Why do you think these nations are so adamant about trying to de-dollarize? Because they're done with America trying to be this big bad bully, right? They're done with having to just do whatever America says. That's why in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, let's get it. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4, it says, "Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased." Right? And when you go into this word oppressor, the word is nagas. If we can go into it, right? It says to press, to exert demanding pressure. Now, how do they exert demanding pressure? Now, of course, one of the ways is through the military, but America, like Esau Edom, being the subtle, shrewd, cunning, deceptive devil that he is, he doesn't need to come with a sword first up front. He uses what? He uses his military. He uses his money. Okay, that's why Putin always talks about how America has weaponized their money. Right? They have weaponized their position when it comes to their world status as being the world currency. So what do? It says, I'm jump to the verse 3, not verse 3, the point 3. It says, driver, taskmaster, ruler, oppressor, tyrant, lord, exactor of tributes. You see? Now you go to the Strongs, it says a permanent word to drive an animal, a workman, a debtor, an army. By implication, to tax, harass, tyrannize, right? To tyrannize. And they're using tyranny through their sanctions, raiser of taxes. And that's what sanctions are. You're just taxing them, taxing somebody. That's why Biden was talking about how he wants to put 100% tax on all of China's products, their EVs, and certain products that they have to make America build back better, this and that. But it's not just China that they're doing this to. They're trying to do this to anybody that doesn't basically want to be underneath their thumb. Verse 5, it says, and as it says, how has the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? And we're seeing this place ceasing, right? Let's see what this word ceasing is. Never did that in this verse, right? In the way that we see it ceasing is by way of seeing all of these retail stores close down. Okay, the standard of living has been lowered, right? People are the citizens in this country are all oppressed, man. What is it? And when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Everybody's mourning, and the main thing people are mourning about is what their condition or their standard of living, because of how much things cost. And things cost more money is because of the taxes. All right, that is what inflation is all about. Okay, because there's no reason why a same product 5 years ago costs 40% more now. What has raised? The product is still the same product. The dollar, right? It's still the same dollar. So what makes this worth? Why do I need more dollars now to afford the same product? It's because ultimately it's taxation. They're calling it inflation, but it's really taxation. And why is that? Because they're taking all of your money and they're sending it to these other countries, namely Ukraine and the 48ers, which are who? Ultimately Amalek. Okay? And Amalek is the one that really has the control over this nation, this country's economic systems. So let's see. It says cease, to desist, rest. All right, to exterminate, to destroy, to fail, to cause to fail. That's a good one because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Babylon failing, as it says in Jeremiah the 51st chapter. Babylon is fallen. All right. Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. Verse 5, back in Isaiah 14, it says, the Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Right? It says, for the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Remember, this is speaking about the king of Babylon, which king of Babylon is representation of the government or the rulership of Babylon. Right? So this place's power is no longer looked at as it used to be. So because that's why you have to have Biden say things like we're the world only superpower. Well, if that was the case, you wouldn't have to say that. It would be shown. It would be your actions, right? Your power would speak for itself, but it doesn't. All right. That's why the government is all in shambles. Nobody trusts the government. Nobody trusts the political leaders because they show that they're not in a position of power. They're not in a position to be respected. Right. So it says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he who ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Right. It says, you struck the people with endless blows of rage. And like I said, mainly the way they do that is through their military and their money. And held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. See? Unrelenting tyranny. Putting all these nations, sanctioning them, putting them in economically slavery to you. The nations, other countries don't have a positive view of the government of America, of the way that America does business. All right, they don't have a positive view of that, man. So let's go to this other article. It says Brics, India and China agree to ditch US dollar for imports. And this just came out yesterday, May 27th. Now, we just read that you had Thailand trying to join the BRICS. We read about how much GDP they have, and their aspirations in the next 4 years, and all of that. Like I said, is a threat to Babylon the Great America hegemony. And you notice that really American political, mainstream media doesn't really talk about what the BRICS is doing. But this is very, very important geopolitical news, because it's going to have a very negative effect on the citizens here. Okay. It says the government of Maldives confirmed that BRICS members India and China have agreed to accept local currencies for imports and ditch the US dollar. Cross-border transactions in local currencies benefit developing countries and strengthen their native economies. Yep. Because that is what the mindset of these nations are now. That we're no longer trying to, strengthen the hand of the king of Babylon, strengthen the hand of Babylon. We meaning these other nations, is what they're saying. We want our economies, our nation of people to be strengthened. So it says Maldives said that India and China will cooperate in facilitating payments for imports in local currency, sidelining the US dollar. The new import trade deal between the three nations fall in line with the BRICS idea of de-dollarization. Read here to know how many sectors in the U.S. will be affected if BRICS ditches the dollar for trade. And that's what they're doing, right? And we're going to actually touch on that real quick, but let me just finish this up because it's not that much more. It says the Maldives Economic Development Minister Mohammed Saeed confirmed the development that local currencies will be used for import trade. And I believe just last week you had Putin and is either, I think it was a Chinese president said that BRICS is looking to create their own, basically their own currency. They'll have a conglomerate of all the nations, and they're all going to come up with their own, one single currency. And if they do that, so you have all of these nations that have their own one currency, what do you think the dollar is going? What do you think is going to happen to the dollar? That's something just to, what do you think is going to happen to the dollar if you got 36, I think they said, % of the world's GDP using a different currency? That's 1/3, over 1/3 of the dollar being, wiped away. The value of the dollar being wiped away, rather. So, and when you think about it like this, imagine that's 1/3, so like 36%. So imagine if 36% of the world stopped using the dollar. So that means all those dollars have to come back to America. And that's how inflation, hyperinflation happens. So imagine if the inflation rose 36%. Okay. So something that costs, you're just going to use whole number, something that costs $100 now costs $136. And you can do that for some milk. 30. Imagine milk going up 36%, right? Eggs, bread, gas. That's not a small number. Okay, so let's read on. It says both India and China will accept or pay 50% of all imports in local currency from Maldives. Therefore, the new 1.5 billion import bill by Maldives will see BRICS members China and India settle 50% in local currencies. That makes it around $750 million worth of cross-border transactions in the local currencies and not the US dollar. Maldives imports $720 billion worth of goods from China and also imports $780 billion every year from India. Half of these transactions will soon be paid in local currencies, ending reliance on the US dollar. All right. Half of these, that's once again, this is not small numbers here. If we can arrange up to 300 million from each BRICS country, that means 700 million. This means that we can eliminate the reliance on the US dollar by that amount in the future. That will reduce the demand for dollars, and the future demand for dollars will continue to fall. Okay? It says Maldives imports between $600 and $700 million of commodities from both BRICS members, India and China, each year. Therefore, we import around $1.4 billion to $1.5 billion commodities annually from both markets combined. That does not sound positive for the US economy. So let's go back here. It says how to know how many sectors will be affected. Let's see if we can pull this up. And this came back in March, end of March. It says 3 US sectors to be affected if BRICS ditches the dollar. All right, let's jump to it. It says the bloc is on a world tour convincing developing countries to use local currencies for trade and not the US dollar. I just read the last sentence. The development will affect several financial sectors in the United States, leading to a market decline in the coming years. If BRICS ditches the dollar for trade, the US currency will return to the homeland, leading to hyperinflation in America, right? So, like I said, 36%. If something raises by 36, that's hyperinflation. Okay. It says 3 US sectors stand to be directly affected if BRICS dumps the dollar for trade. Right? It says below are the 3 financial sectors. Number 1, banking and finance. Interesting. Right? Technology and fintech, consumer goods and retail. First and foremost, the banking and financial sectors will be the hardest hit as foreign exchange will begin to decline. Now, think about that. Banking and financial sectors. What does that have to do with? Right? That has to ultimately, all of this technically has to do with buying and selling. All right? Technology, fintech, because they're using technology to create a new way of buying and selling, because with the dollar bill, with actual cash, you don't need technology. All right. All you need is this hand. And I don't mean that in the MOTB way. I mean being able to transfer the dollars that's in your pocket and hand it over to somebody else. But now, because of everything that's going on, they're trying to use technology as the new way to buy and sell. So it says will be hit the hardest as foreign exchange will begin to decline. The Forex markets run, and Forex is a short for foreign exchange, run on supply and demand. So like it just jumped. And the demand for the US dips, the US central banks will find it harder to import the dollar. If the central banks of BRICS countries don't accumulate the dollar. Slovakia. Slovakia about that. It says accumulate don't accumulate the dollar. The US will see its currency returning home. Moreover, the US has been importing its inflation to other nations for years, and a return of the currency will lead to hyperinflation in the homeland. You see? Um, Secondly, the technology sector will take a hit as inflation in the US leads to job losses. Additionally, multinational corporations have to shell out more money to keep businesses afloat and stay at the top without sinking. BRICS can bring down the US economy if it can stop accepting the dollar for payment, and that's what they're doing. Lastly, and in conclusion, the everyday consumer goods in the retail sector will see prices skyrocketing. Also, inflation will take a grip on the markets, leading to prices of day to day commodities turning expensive. Moreover, the Biden administration must act quickly to counter BRICS and to stop decline of the US dollar. Now, whether it be the Biden administration or whether it be, which I believe would be the Trump administration, nonetheless, those are just two sides of the same beast, right? The two horns like a lamb, but spake as a dragon. Their uh, um, their response to this will be to try to implement a new way of buying and selling, which will be that mark of the beast. Okay. So when we go here to Revelation 12 and 12, which we ultimately, we use this when we speak about, the prophecies coming to pass and these devils knowing. But when we read this also, let's read it. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Okay. And who is the devil? Esau, Edom. Right. And particularly the Esau, Edom, that is the ones that are in the powers, the power seat. Okay. The elites, and them knowing that they have a short time. Like I said, they see the prophecies, they see Israel waking up, right? As it says in Ezekiel the 30, was that 7th chapter, right? When they stood up on an exceeding great army. So they're seeing all these things come to pass. They're seeing the signs in the heavens. They're seeing the chariots, and that is to them. And they also seeing this multipolarization, right? They're seeing countries trying to move away from the America and American hegemony. So they're trying to now implement a fourth industrial revolution, a fourth, as they call it, the fourth turning, into pushing out a system to where you got to now be integrated with society technologically in order to buy and sell. And through that technology, they will be able to have complete, control over your ability to basically have a livelihood, because you would now have to be in complete subservient to them. If not, then they will take away your ability to be a part of society through taking away that access to have buying and selling without the Karag. You see, so all of these things are happening right now, and majority of people are still just completely oblivious to it. And that's why the scripture says that we have to be children of the light. Okay, we have to be on our watchtower. We have to be mindful. Okay, because the Lord gave us the signs of these things. But if you are in the dark, then you won't be able to see a sign. You can have 1,000 signs in a room, but if there's no light in that room, you won't ever be able to read it. So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse I'll go to 4 as the point. It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of the light. All right. And what makes us children of the light? Well, that the Yahweh Shai. All right. Because it tells us in the book of, I want to say it's either 1 Peter or 2 Peter. Let me see. So it might be, yeah, so it might be First Peter. Salakia, Second Peter. Let's get that. Second Peter 1. Yep. Second Peter chapter 1, verse 19. It says, we have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn, the day star arise in your hearts. All right, in your mind. Okay. So let's read that in NLT. It says, because of that experience, we have even greater confidence in the message proclaimed by the prophets. All right. That's why the Lord sent the prophets, as it says in Isaiah 53rd chapter, who shall believe our report? Only the elect, only the ones that has that light in them. You must pay close attention to what they wrote, for their words are like a lamp shining in a dark place until the day dawns and Hamashiach, the morning star, shines in your hearts. You see? So that's why you got to put on a mind of Yahweh Shai so that you can be a child of the day. All right. And you'll be able to see these things coming before they come. So let's go back. It says 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 1 verse Salakia 5 verse 5. Ye are all children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Okay? Stay alert and be clear-headed, not to be drunken with the affairs and the cares of this world. Because if you are in that position, then you're not going to be able to see when these things come. All right? Because they're doing it subtly, but it's gradually, and it's rapid gradualism. All right, it's a subtle thing, and they got a whole bunch of other distractions, especially with Jake, because Jake gets distracted, by everything, right? Drama, really. That's why you have things like the rap battles that are going on, popping up out of nowhere. And rap battling hasn't even been a thing since Jay-Z and Tupac. I mean Jay-Z and Nas. And I'm sure you had other rap battles, but I'm saying how big. You got two of the biggest rappers right now, battling each other. Come on, that wasn't even a thing. Okay, and on top of that, which is also the Lord, using it as a twofold. You got all this controversy surrounding these celebrities, right? Like P. Diddy, and all of their dirty laundry coming out, which is also distracting Jake from what is real and what is important. Okay. And while all that is happening, these devils are still moving. They're still got their agenda. They still got their enterprise. They're still laying these traps. You see? So reading on, it says, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. For the Most High has not appointed us to wrath, because the ones who are going to be caught up are going to feel the wrath of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. The ones who, are blinded, all right, the ones who are in that gross darkness, the ones of you that knew this truth, but started to go with wayward doctrine, all right, and doctrines of devils, you're also appointed to the wrath of the Lord. It says, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. All right, so that's pretty much it on these few articles that I had. There was one here, but I'm not going to read the actual article, but you just read the headline because it ties into it. It says, JP Morgan forecaster issues grim warning about the state of the stock markets this year. Okay, so this is all what is being talked about, man. Economic woes, turmoil, and which is going to cause civil and social unrest. Okay, so it's happening on a micro and on a macro level. So Lord willing, this was edifying and informative unto the elect. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Shalom.